Right, this is going to be a little bit of a contradictory type of video. Now, I've not shown you this process because I did this late last night and I just wanted to get it done. But I have removed the exhaust gas recirculation system. And I've got gloves on because I want to stay clean, but I'm going to show you something really filthy in a minute. So this is one actuator for the EGR system, which went there. Sorry for the poor lighting. So that opens a butterfly valve inside this air intake body. And then this actuator, which goes there, allows exhaust gas into the air intake through, do you remember that crushed pipe that came from here and it went to the bottom of there? Okay, so I'm going to show you why I have decided to take those components off. Now, as far as I'm aware, this is illegal to do on a road vehicle, but I'm pretty certain that for static engines, which this will be, it's not an issue. So have a look. Let me get the light. Have a look inside that hole. It is full of diesel soot. Okay, so that hole is full of diesel soot. What's that hole? That's the air intake to the engine. Okay, the air filter box connects to this big hole here, which, let me bring the light in. That's that butterfly valve that I've got to remove. But there's traces of oil inside here, and I'll show you why. Okay, it's not actually apparent, but it will be when the engine's completely rebuilt. From this oil filler cap, the oil filler cap goes here. In fact, this engine's been damaged. This rocker cover needs replacing because this oil filler cap neck should stand pretty much straight. And that is the bottom of the oil filler cap, and the rest of the cap snapped off. But the oil filler cap's got a hole, or should I say like a barbed fitting, like a pipe going into the side of it. And what that does, that goes down to the air filter box, which would sit here, okay, or close to the air filter box. Now, I did describe on one of the other videos where air actually gets sucked out of the rocker cover, up through the oil cap and down into the air filter provides a vacuum to suck hydrocarbon loaded, moist air with oil in it out of the filler neck and into the air intake, which goes straight into that hole, which then goes past this hole where exhaust gas and soot is mixed with the oil that's coming in here. And then what happens is it creates like a cross between chewing gum and carpet that absolutely loads all these intake pipes from here all the way down, all the way to the actual valves. It goes in through the head and into the valves. Now, Ford took ages to design these air filter pipes to be the right diameter for allowing the best airflow into the engine that can possibly get into it. The most efficient airflow that they can get by volume, you might say, volume of air. Now, what is the use of designing this to be the most efficient size if, let me just try and scrape some of that out. If this is going to be, you can see that it's absolutely filthy. That is oil and diesel soot mixed. If you've ever been behind a diesel engined car or van and they put the foot down and a plume of black smoke comes out, that is what's going back into the air intake. Now, for this engine, to get the most efficiency out of it and the most power out of it, to make it run efficiently and clean, I'm probably going to have to take all this air intake off and soak it in petrol overnight. Then probably try and get something like a bottle brush in there to scrape it all out before it will run efficiently. So you can imagine these pipes are of a certain diameter. Imagine that hole is probably what, 30 millimeters in diameter, but the actual soot and crap that's in there reduces the diameter of that pipe, and it'll be further reduced in here. That pipe is probably like 50 or 60, maybe 70 mil diameter, but I can guarantee that inside that pipe it's not actually that diameter because of the crap that's built up inside it. And inside the valves, let me just move around to the intake side of the head. So these are all the intakes for each cylinder. You've got cylinder 1's intake there, cylinder 2's intake there, 3 and 4. You see how small these pipes are? Yeah, these are probably, what, in old money, about 1.5 inches diameter. So the inside of them pipes are probably 1 inch diameter because you've got probably 1/4 of an inch thickness of the actual aluminium that this is cast out of. I've had a transit van where it would hardly run, and I took the air intake off and these pipes were down to literally probably the size of, well, the hole through the muck that was in there was probably the diameter of a pencil, if not less. You know, so the actual diameter of that pipe with the muck that was in there had reduced from nearly 1 inch or 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, whatever it was originally, down to about 6 millimeters, 7 millimeters at the most. So that engine could not breathe properly. Now, everybody goes on about green things these days and, you know, pollution and all that rubbish. So why introduce an EGR system, exhaust gas recirculation system, when they've not actually thought it through? They've made this system law to be on every road vehicle if it's a diesel. You know, probably if not, maybe some petrols have got it as well, but diesels are the prime suspects for having EGR systems on. Why introduce this system if it's going to limit the diameter of these pipes to make the engine breathe? And I'll explain why. Anyone with asthma knows you run up the stairs and you're huffing and puffing and panting like crazy. Someone without asthma runs up the stairs, they take about 3 breaths while they're running up the stairs. Every step you're taking a breath if you've got asthma, you know. You're probably taking 2 breaths per step, and it's no different for engines. You imagine, these pipes have shrunken in diameter because of the build-up inside them, and you're going up a slight gradient in your transit van. And because of people like Greta Thunberg that have the nose in stuff that they shouldn't have, that they don't know anything about, your engine's labouring really hard. Okay? You've got your foot down to the floor trying to get up a gradient to keep up with the rest of the traffic that's flying past you by now, and you're holding people up. But the worst thing is you're probably causing more pollution with these pipes being reduced diameter than what you would be if that system wasn't on the vehicle in the first place, creating all this problem. I told you this was going to be a controversial video. So you take the EGR system off, okay, and clean all these pipes or replace all these pipes and leave the EGR system off. This engine will run more efficiently, cleaner, put less pollution out than what it would do with the EGR system on. Now, that's not an expense. I mean, with that being legal, you know, legally required, the EGR system, you've got to leave that on. So what does that mean for you as a van driver owner? You know, you've got to take these pipes off and scrape them out and clean them out or replace them probably every 100,000 miles. You might say to yourself, well, I'm not going to keep my van that long. But the thing is, someone's going to end up with this van and they're going to do 100 or more thousand miles and they're going to have to do it. And while ever this pipe is gummed up with crap, it's going to be polluting more than what it would if this was clean. Example, like I said, you're going up a hill in your transit van, you've got your foot to the floor, it's not burning the diesel efficiently because it can't actually breathe as well. So unburned diesel is then firing out of your exhaust at an alarming rate. How is that any better for the environment than just burning the diesel once, getting up the hill in like 10 seconds instead of taking you an hour to get up the same hill? Okay, how is that more climate friendly, you might say? Why don't engine designers and governments just leave people alone and stop with all the green crap? Because a lot of the stuff that they're doing is like, it's rhetorical, you know, it's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. This engine will run a hell of a lot better once I've done all this. And it's just a shame that you can't do the same thing on a road-going vehicle, because I'd want to get up a hill in a transit van in like a minute rather than 10. I'd rather go up the hill at 70 if that were the speed limit, rather than 30 and hold the rest of the traffic back behind me. Also, your engine's not running as good as a normal one, or as good as it should be. That's something else. You're going to be changing down a gear from 5th to 4th to 3rd. Every transit owner knows that this. They've done it themselves. They've gone up a slight gradient on the motorway and they've changed down a gear, put the foot down. You're running at maximum revs now just to get up a hill because your engine's got hardly any power. How more cleaner and greener would it be if you could stay in 5th gear, not have as much throttle on, and get up the hill without a problem? That's a little rant for the day. So, little update. I've done quite a bit off camera actually. I have removed the electrical system, all the wiring loom, because it was cut, if you remember. I have given this engine a quick brush with a paintbrush to clean all the dirt off it. I've removed a couple of rubber pipes that were, well, I've removed every single rubber pipe that was cut apart from one. Taking the bottom radiator hose off, taking the alternator off. That's just like a pinch clip, and then you just pull that pipe off. There was another pipe, the alternator's there. Yeah, so one undid and one just had a pinch clip on it. I think that's the other pipe. What else have we done? I've still not took the fan off. I had problems with that, if you remember. I have taken the power steering pump bracket off from down there. You can't see, really. Let me get the light. Let me get the light. That bracket's gone. So this will be a bit less weight for me to lift this into the generator cabinet. I've taken the exhaust, pardon me. I've taken, not the exhaust bracket rubber, the engine mount rubber. I've taken that off because that needed replacing anyway. This was late at night the other night, so I couldn't make a lot of noise. But if I just get my cable from around this plate. So that's one of the other engine mount rubbers. I've gone to undo that, and that bolt there is just spinning the entire rubber. So I've got to either clamp that. The light's not very good. This light's crap. It just wants to face down all the time without you putting your foot on it. And obviously my other hand's holding the camera. Let's see if I can get into a position. So you try to undo that bolt, and because that's not mounted to the chassis anymore, I can't just undo that nut there because it's spinning the entire lot. So I've got to either grip that with something to undo that bolt, or I'll just cut straight through that bolt with the grinder or something, but it's a bit of difficult to get in, so I might use like a nut splitter, or if I can't get a nut splitter onto it and make it work, I'll probably use like a vibrating tool. Those two bolts are hellishly tight as well, so I daren't take them off because I think they're just going to snap. So I'm going to soak them in penetrating fluid, WD-40 or something similar. Leave them for a few nights, keep soaking them. If I come to crack them off and they still won't crack, I will probably be very careful, because this is cast iron, but I'll probably be very careful with a blow lamp and warm them up with a blow lamp. I've got to take, as I said, the rocker cover off, and I'll video that for you, show you the rockers. Let me just get rid of that and that into the scrap pile. So what I'm going to do to bypass the EGR system is I'm going to cut a plate out of probably 5 or 6 mil steel and just bolt it straight onto there. I'll cut it the same shape as that opening and the two tabs where the bolts go, and I'll just bolt a plate onto there. I'll probably put the old gasket that was in between there on as well, just to seal it, and the same with down here. What I'll probably do is I'll take that plate off, cut one that's solid that hasn't got a hole, use the original gasket and just bolt that back down. So no exhaust gas will come out of here. That won't be sucking intake in, you know, all the intake will come through the filter then. That butterfly valve's got to come out, that's not a problem. I think that's about all I did last night. I can't think of anything else that I did. Okay, so I will get back to you when I do another update, when I come to bringing myself to do a little bit more work to it. I'm not rushing with this engine because I've got from, it's December at the minute, I think it's December the 13th at the minute, 2023, and I've got until March 2024 to finish this off and get it in the cabinet and get it working. Incidentally, the person I got this engine off, it came with the gearbox attached. That is a 5-speed mt75 gearbox from a Ford Transit Mark 4, Mark 5. I think the Mark 3 used them. I'm not sure whether the Mark 6 uses something similar, but I know the Mark 6 is front wheel drive, but there were rear wheel drive conversions or, you know, variants. I'm not sure whether that's the same, but incidentally, that gearbox is worth quite a bit because hot rod lads like them. That gearbox there, the Rover SD1 3.5 litre V8 will bolt straight onto that. I think the 2 litre Pinto engine will bolt straight onto that, but I'm not sure whether the starter motor hole's in the right place or not. But you can get an adapter plate for them, like I'm getting adapter plates for that. You can get an adapter plate for that gearbox. That will take a hell of a lot of torque. So yeah, they're worth quite a bit. It's a manual clutch, manual release. That is actually for sale. So if you know anyone that wants an MT75 gearbox, comment or get in touch with me. You probably know how through Facebook. If you Google the same company name as what the YouTube channel is, you can find me. If you give me a message and give me an offer for an amount for that gearbox that you're interested in, I can ask the person who owns it whether that's a substantial offer or not, and you can buy that gearbox. Not a problem. And if you've got a transit van, a Mark 4, Mark 5, and you come to my house and want that gearbox fitting on a transit van and exchanging for the knackered gearbox that you've got, I will quite happily put that gearbox on your van outside my house. It'll take me probably half an hour, 3/4 of an hour to an hour to do it. I think the most difficult part about them gearboxes is actually getting the van in the right place, jacked up to get underneath it. Unbolting them and bolting them back on, it's child's play. All I will ask, if you want that gearbox bolting onto your van outside my house, buy a new clutch, because I'm not putting an old one back on with a gearbox replacement. That's kind of asking for trouble. So yeah, if you want to buy that gearbox, let me know. I'll get in touch with the owner and you can buy that gearbox and just make me an offer for a couple of quid for a drink and I'll fit it for you if you really want me to. Right. I think that's it for now. I won't be making another video for a couple of weeks because I've got to wait until the weather's right to get outside and work on that Chinese engine. And at the minute, the weather's rotten where I am. So I shall come back to you with an update on this when I can. See you later.